Hi YouTubers, welcome to one of my videos. Firstly, I'm going to apologise to a lot of YouTubers. They've asked me a few questions and hopefully I'm going to be able to answer them today. And it's to do with leakage current, whether it's in a motorhome or a caravan. And what I'm trying to explain is, even when devices like USB charging points are not charging phones, they take power, and so do a lot of other devices. Now I'm going to firstly start with intelligent battery chargers. Now you can pick intelligent battery chargers up, just slide this across, on the market. Ones you fit permanently in your motorhome and ones you can have portable for your car and things like that. And one of the things I'm trying to get across is these devices, because they monitor battery voltages, take power. So when you think about it, this here is an intelligent repair battery charger. Some of these are fitted in motorhomes, and the idea is when you go to electric hookup, you plug your van in, or your caravan or your motorhome, and you charge your batteries via the hookup, 230 volt if you're in the UK. Fine, I accept that, I don't have any problems with that. But there is a problem you can get when you put your van in storage, unless you disconnect the battery completely, but I'll talk about that later. And I'll give you a demonstration. Here we have a charger. It's not connected to the mains, and I'm just going to connect it to this battery. That's the negative on, and I connect the positive on. It will probably spark. Now I don't know whether you can notice, this unit is got a display on it which shows the battery voltage, the temperature and the condition of the battery. Now then, it's not plugged in the mains, so where is it getting its power from? The simple answer is it is drawing current from the leisure battery. Now then, so when you put your motorhome in storage, either indoors or in the winter where there's no solar panel topping your battery up, you've instantly got power leakage taken from your leisure battery just to power the battery monitor. You can see it's going between voltage and temperature, things like that. It's not plugged in. So any intelligent battery charger you have on your motorhome consumes power from the battery. It can be called quiescent current or leakage current. And this just proves it. There's no power coming from the mains, so it's powering the display on the charger. Okay, so you can see that, I've demonstrated that, it is taking power from the leisure battery. So the charger itself draws current. Similar, I've talked about solar charge controllers. They, when they're not in sunlight, they consume power from your leisure battery. And depending on the type of controller, determines how much power they draw and the make and model and capacity and things like that. These low-cost solar charge controllers take 0.01 of an amp. The more complicated the charger controller is, the more current it consumes itself. Now, an MPPT controller takes 4 times more current to run the electronics than these simple controllers. So again, that's classified as leakage. So when the sun goes in, because the solar controller is monitoring the battery condition and they've got timers in, it consumes power. Now if it's got Bluetooth in it, or even Wi-Fi, so you can check your condition, that also consumes power when the sun's gone in and you're not on hookup. So that power's got to come from somewhere, and that is consumed from the leisure battery. Taking that step forward, your USB charging points in your van consume a small amount of power as well from the leisure battery. Your alarm system on your vehicle may run from the engine battery, or it may run from the leisure battery. That consumes power, whichever battery it's taking from. Any cameras, security systems, trackers, they consume power from your leisure battery. If you've got remote control LED lights, the receiver for the remote control takes power from the leisure battery. So you've got your battery charger, internal battery charger, which for hookup, that is taking a small amount of power from the leisure battery. Your solar controller, when the sun's not in, that is consuming power from your leisure battery. Your USB charging points are consuming power from your leisure battery. Your alarm systems and your tracker and your Wi-Fi, if you leave it on, are all taking power from your leisure battery. Even your TV in standby mode is taking power from your leisure battery when it's in standby mode, the same as your radio in your car and anything like that. Now your lights, where it's remote control, there is a receiver in the lights which is consuming power. So all those small items take power. Now on a lot of vans you have an isolation switch. So when you're not using your van, you switch off, and that normally switches off the interior lights, your water pump and stuff like that. But if you've added things to your van, you need to make sure that they are isolated. Now you can get a problem. You say, well, I could remove the leisure battery from the vehicle. Problem is with that is solar charge controllers, you should not have the solar panels connected to the charge controller if you haven't got a battery connected. It can damage the controllers. So that is something you've got to consider. If you're going to take your leisure battery off your vehicle, you have to disconnect the solar panels to the controller first before taking the 12-volt battery off. So I don't know whether that's made things a bit clearer for people, but most definitely intelligent charge controllers for mains hookup take power. Now then, what about power inverters? This one here. Now this has got an on-off switch on the front. These also consume power themselves, and unless it has a proper switch on the front, some people just rely on the automatic sensing to switch the unit on. So as soon as you plug something in the front, it then draws power. But even that electronic circuitry. Now this inverter here, unless it's completely switched off, I'll turn it over. It's 90% efficient. It takes 400 milliamps of power if it's not completely switched off. That's 0.4 of an amp. So if you left that on in your van without completely switching it off, it would really flatten the battery in a week at least. Similar with your Chinese diesel heater. The display on its own on a 70 amp hour battery will flatten it in 3 weeks. You've got to switch the display off, and the only way to do that is to put a switch in the main feed to the diesel heater, an isolation switch, because all these things will flatten the battery. If you're using your van as a permanent, you live in your van and you're driving it alternate days, it doesn't show up as an issue. But if you're like me and you put your van into storage mainly from the winter, you might not go down to it for a month. You've got to ensure that things are off and fuses are out. You know, the car radio, the interior cab light timer if it has one, so that when you open the door it comes on and then after a while it goes off. That also consumes power. And it's known as leakage current in a lot of cases, or quiescent current. Just be aware of it. You know, when you install your extra USB chargers, make sure that they're not on all the time to the battery. Make sure it either goes through the ignition switch or you've got a master isolation switch. And just showing you this again, just put, this is a good example actually, this charger. If I left this on this battery, it would discharge it. Okay, so I'm just connecting it, and there we have a display monitoring the temperature and everything else, and that is drawing power, and the only place it can get power from is a leisure battery. So I hope this all makes sense. I'm not an expert on this sort of stuff. This is what I've picked up from experience, and I've only been motorhoming for 2.5 years now. However, I've had 2 or 3 caravans, and my father was electrical mechanical engineer and mechanic as well, and he taught me a lot of things to do with things like this. And